The meeting was called by Council to answer residents' queries about the $5 million proposal. The Showground Trust and the International Facility Corporation, representing developers' sellers, hired a professional chairperson at the rate of $1,000 a day to control the debate. However, the meeting at times still became fiery. The residents say the 5,000-seat centre will create noise, traffic and parking problems. Jim McGecky from the Showground Trust says all these issues have been addressed by architects and engineers working to council regulations. Mr McGecky says Newcastle desperately needs a centre such as this, encouraging top-class performers to come to the Hunter. The Broadmeadow resident group agrees an entertainment centre is needed. They just don't want it in their backyard.
We agree that the proposal is a good one, but it's being located in the wrong area. It'd be far better if they put it into a more central location in the commercially developed site, not in the smack bang in the middle of a residential area.
But all this debate may simply be talk. Plans are yet to receive development approval, and next week Council is going to the Land and Environment Court to check a ruling on whether an entertainment centre can actually be built on the Showground site. Peter Ryan, NBN News. According to Edmund Capon, the exhibition of 151 paintings, drawings, prints and sculptures is a good indication of the work the gallery has put in the last 2 years. Varying from traditional to modern works, the exhibition highlights great Australian artists such as Lloyd Rees and Sidney Nolan. This painting by Nolan, Central Australia, an abstract view of the outback. There is a series of prints by John Olsen and also works from local artists such as Michael Bell, Ed Rush and Peter Tilley. Most of the pieces in the show, valued at around $400,000, have been donated to the gallery. Edmund Capon says Novocastrians should mark down this exhibition as a must.
You know, it's like any community, and a fairly broadly based community. I think they need cultural refreshment. I need it, and I think everybody else needs it. And a gallery like this plays an extraordinary role in doing that.
Opening tomorrow, the exhibition runs through to January 7.
The Walker Waterworks was just one of a dozen favourite fishing spots chosen in the quest. 240 fishermen and women tried all night to catch the big one in a marathon non-stop fishing expedition. Today they all turned up at Lorn Park to see who snared the catch to beat the last record of 2 years ago, a 5.8 kilo, 1.3 metre monster. Some eels were reluctant to be taken to their weigh-in. Little Libby kept a safe distance.
They're slimy.
Do you like them? Would you touch one?
Nah, only if they're dead.
However, Alan considers eels like favourite pets. Are you not scared of them at all?
No.
But one of the biggest catches for the day went to 12-year-old junior category winner Paul Wiltshire, who couldn't believe his luck with his 8.1 kilo fish. Is this the biggest you've ever caught?
And the first.
How do you feel about it?
When I caught it, I was shaking like mad, and then I was jumping up with glee.
The biggest eel caught today was 8.3 kilos, and for those which didn't measure up, a chilling end. Only a few years ago, a colourful casual meeting like this would have been unthinkable in the Catholic Church. Today's celebrations came about 3 years after a trial was set up to discover what people wanted out of their religion. The Pope then told Catholic churches worldwide to get people more involved in masses and put more emphasis on their ideas. He said times are changing fast and the Catholic Church has to be ready by the year 2000. The Maitland Diocese is Australia's first to set up meetings involving its 53 parishes. The trial period has now come to an end and has been declared a resounding success. Other dioceses to follow Maitland's example have been Wagga, Ballarat and Parramatta.
The news of a weekend spree of vandalism sent a stream of concerned relatives to check on the graves of their loved ones. Damage was scattered across the cemetery with headstones pushed over, crosses snapped and vases smashed.
Someone just came and pushed my husband's gravestone over with their feet and destroyed all the flowers and ornaments.
Why do you think anybody would do this?
I have no idea, because we're just ordinary people and we wouldn't do anything like that to anybody. I don't know.
Many found their relatives' graves had escaped damage. Still, they remained baffled by what they saw as a senseless attack.
Shocked. Really shocking. Their mentality is very low, isn't it?
I don't know what's becoming of the youth today, or like what the terrible things they're doing to the live people. They won't even let the dead lie rest.
Scientific police were on the scene this morning documenting the damage, while uniformed officers tried to piece together a picture of events from neighbours.
At this stage we have received some very encouraging information, and we hope that the matter will be brought to an early, appropriate conclusion.
Later today, police interviewed 2 Belmont South boys, 9 and 11 years old, over the damage. Police investigations are continuing.
Fire units were alerted to the blaze by a 000 call from a neighbour just before 1 o'clock. They arrived to find smoke pouring from a small outside laundry at the rear of the Church Street home. Several people were desperately trying to comfort a young child who'd been caught in the blaze. He'd been pulled from the burning building by a motorist who'd been passing and heard the mother's frantic cries for help. The man had raced the toddler from the building and called on the child's shocked parents for a blanket. He hosed the blanket down and wrapped the child in it. Ambulance paramedics arrived a short time later and treated the child on the scene before rushing him to Royal Newcastle Hospital. The child had received third-degree burns to his entire body. The boy's mother was comforted on the scene by friends. She was later also taken to hospital suffering from shock. Firemen say it appears the child had been attempting to put petrol in his toy lawnmower in the laundry when a spark from the washing machine started the blaze. The building itself suffered only minor damage.
The Newcastle Police District covers diverse neighbourhoods, some more prone to break-ins than others, but quarterly figures released by the Police Media Unit in Sydney show a big overall rise on last year's records. In the September quarter of 1988, police recorded 498 break-ins, of which 40 were solved. In the same period this year, there were 594 break-ins, of which 60 were solved. The increase of 96 break-ins is a rise of almost 20%. However, Police Superintendent Russ Cook says there's no cause for public alarm.
With an increase of 96, we're looking at one offence per day all over Newcastle. But we're concerned to the extent that there must be a reason for that increase. We are looking to reduce it, and that's the concern we have.
Is it possible to say which suburbs are worse affected than others?
Yes, we've found that the worst affected suburbs are the inner suburbs of Mayfield, Hamilton and Adamstown, and stretching out to Wall's End.
Having identified those, are you planning to do anything about that level?
Well, we've planned to put an extra police presence in those areas.
From December, an extra 6 Highway Patrol police will be assigned to Mayfield Police Station, and other general duties police will be relocated to the worst affected suburbs during high-risk periods. The move comes too late for Robert Marchese, who just immigrated to Australia from France in time to contribute to Newcastle's crime statistics when thieves broke into his house and stole $6,500 worth of jewellery.
They get into the house by the back window of the house, and they break the window, and they just open the window by a little hook, and it was not difficult to enter the house here in Australia.
And what did they take?
They take all the jewelry we have in our house from the wedding and from the souvenir of the family.
Do you think you'll ever see it again?
We hope and we pray for that. We never know.
The Goondaloo was built in Sydney in 1959, but over more recent years it's hovered on the verge of retirement, serving only as a backup pilot cutter. The arrival of the thoroughly modern EC Close as a replacement spelt the end of the Goondaloo's service. That's when the Volunteer Coastal Patrol stepped in. They had their eye on the cutter's sturdy timber hull for some time and considered it ideal as a rescue boat. Today, the MSB formally handed it over to a new way of life. Coastal Patrol Divisional Commodore Commander Peter Shevlin says the Goondaloo is elderly but will still offer many useful years.
We think we'll get another 15 years or so service out of them. They're stoutly built wooden vessels, they've been well maintained.
The Goondaloo set forth from Newcastle with an escort of pilot cutters, including the Girralong, which is now serving the Coastal Patrol at Port Stephens. The Newcastle Port Authority is confident the cutter will receive lavish attention from the volunteer crews, who appreciate not only its potential, but also its part in the state's maritime history. The Goondaloo will berth overnight at Port Stephens for a mechanical check-up before resuming its voyage to Coffs Harbour. Meanwhile, another vessel is drawing nearer to beginning service. The Carrington-built Antarctic exploration icebreaker Aurora Australis began a ponderous journey from the Tomago slipway along the Hunter's North Arm to Newcastle Port for a final fitting. The vessel, displacing 4,600 tonnes, was buoyed up on barges to help it scrape over the riverbed. On occasions, the Australis had less than 20 centimetres of water under its keel, even though it draws 4.2 metres. Survey boats spent 10 months plotting a safe channel for the $60 million icebreaker. The final move was only possible under the most favourable wind and tide conditions. The Australis will remain at Merewether Dock until it begins sea trials in late January.